Hello, everyone. It's me, LHMusic. Time for another edition of What Do We Learn for this week? So here's what we learned for, hope all we have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend as much as we all do. So it's going to be all those grave sites and all that stuff. So it's going to be huge. Trust us. And um, and it's going to be, all these are dead to remember and all that. So who knows? So here's what because thousands of more troops, in America, stationed in the Middle East this Memorial Day, last weekend, as peace with Iran looms on the horizon. So that's something to sink your teeth into. So who knows? Can be civilized. So what do we learn for this week? Learn about the Pope is offered tried and true solutions to population crisis, as far as we concerned. So that not so simple. Well, whatever it is. Okay, so what do we learn that you guess that Stephen Colbert last Thursday's guess the Late Show finale. Oh God, I'll tell you one thing: if Stephen Colbert is a human disaster. I'm serious. Stephen Colbert is such a human disaster you couldn't even stand. Uh, stuff. And all those audience sound like clapping seals about this one. LHMusic, I'm a seal. I'm clap. I can clap all you want, all I want. And you talk about Stephen Colbert? Well, that's what everybody wants. But who knows can be civilized about this one. Anyways, so what do we learn for this week? Yeah, Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz is back in the news, trying to dismantling black political power. Oh Lord, that could be a disaster. So, Ken Paxton beating John Gordon last Tuesday's GOP Senate primary runoff, and I'm here to tell you it's gonna be huge. But what comes next on the list of things? Yeah, Middleton defeating Chip Roy in a Texas Attorney General race. As far as we're concerned, you ought to know by now. But what about let's see. Oh yes, these two things you don't want to know about that as well. Trump slams the door on crooked politician Biden over attempting to block the release of this interview. Well, who knows? And he wants to repay over all our country for JD Vance's uncover bills and frauds. Well, there's one include a deadly case as far as we concerned, because JD Vance is so unstoppable, so he can do this in 2028. So that could hit you in the face, I'm saying about that as well. And and what about Trump accuser E. Jean Carroll faces a criminal perjury for probing a Democratic mega donor? Has something to do with that? Well, who knows? Who's Celeste? So everybody has to learn about this, all this death threats about this one. So that's something to sink your teeth into. And finally, what do we learn for this week? Oh yeah, that's right. Volunteer recognition dinner at Bellevue University. Oh, Lord have mercy. I cannot believe my eyes and ears. So you might think it's so smart about rescheduling it. That's why my dad's tried to rescheduling that Social Security card appointment, and you have no idea whatsoever about this one. So you just about that. But voluntary recognitions dinner. Oh boy, I'm so excited. Hope I was be there. So it's Aisha and the rest of my voluntary crew and my staff and all that stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Especially Mike. Yeah, turning his. I called Mike and I said, I got somebody else to give me a ride, and that's why Cynthia wants me to give me a ride over to this Bellevue University. Who knows? Give me civilized. Is this answer your question, Mike? At least you got a mom taking you over to Bellevue University. So who knows? And one more thing, Tina is gone forever. Well, who knows? Because yesterday, Tina has a birthday. Had a birthday surprise. She gave me a big, huge piece of pizza. So, oh boy, that could be huge. Trust us. But who knows? Can be civilized about this one. Thank you, Tina. It's about that time you try to not interrupt my what do we learn thing. You try to do that again. I'll make you do something about this. And speaking of what do we learn, anyways, Do Space Podcast Studios that I'm going, yeah, that's right, for the big season finale of Everyday Agenda Podcast. It's going to be, from Angel Song Productions and Spreaker Studios, and so is video podcast from YouTube. Starts this weekend, and and it's going to be huge. If you missed Everyday Agenda Podcast, go to the website, lhmusictimes6.wixsite.com/everyday agenda. And you have to listen to the podcast from iHeartRadio all the way up to you know who, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast distributors for Everyday Agenda. And like I said, you missed Blaze Nation Thursdays and Friday Night Blaze Nation Podcast season finale. You should, like I said, it's the same thing I said to all of you people out there. Download it and listen to it on the iHeartRadio app. Like I said, again, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and so it's other podcast distributors for these two season finale podcasts of Blaze Nation Thursdays, and so it's Friday Night Blaze Nation Podcast, and you know what I'm talking about. And like I said, you're inside my world on the website, and you know why. And it pays to be nice to people, you know what I'm saying. It's going to be LHMusic's world, and I'll be updating this after I deal with this voluntary recognition dinner over at Bellevue University. And you ought to know by now, it pays me nice to people. It's going to be lhmusic6.wixsite.com, and so it's my Facebook page as well. And that's all I can say. Trust us. Anyways, that's it for now. We gotta go. But don't worry, we'll be back next Thursday for another edition of What Did We Learn for this week from YouTube Studios. And like I said, don't forget, LH Music's World Wednesdays. It's going to be a very special Tuesday edition from YouTube Studios. Do this live at Do Space Podcast Studios at 72nd and Dodge Street. Trust us. Right here. It's from YouTube and YouTube Studios right here. So, you know what I'm talking about. I wish this camera will adjust this. So who knows? Give me some likes. Anyways, I'll see you next Thursday for another edition of What Did We Learn for this week from YouTube Studios. And like I said before, LH Music's about to sign off. Go with God's blessings. And we salute all of you, America, out there. Take care. Go. Bye-bye. See ya. All right.